Republic Act 9262, Anti-Violence Against Women and Children. Republic Act 9262 is the Anti-Violence Against Women and Their Children Act of 2004. The Act classifies violence against women and children, or the VAUCI, as a public crime. What is Republic Act 9262 all about? Objective: Republic Act 9262 is an act defining violence against women and their children, providing for protection measures for victims, prescribing penalties therefore and for other purposes. Declaration of Policy. It is hereby declared that the state values the dignity of women and children and guarantees full respect for human rights. The state also recognizes the need to protect the family and its members, particularly women and children, from violence and threats to their personal safety and security. What is violation of Republic Act 9262? Goal: Republic Act 9262, otherwise known as the Anti-Violence Against Women and Their Children Law, or the VAUCI, defines violation against women and children as any act or a series of acts against a woman who is his wife, former wife, or against a woman with whom the person has or had sexual or dating relationship, or with whom he has a common child, or against her child, whether legitimate or illegitimate, within or without the family abode, which result in physical, sexual, psychological harm or suffering or economic abuse, including threats of such acts, battery, assault, harassment, or arbitrary deprivation of liberty. VAUCI includes the following acts. Physical violence refers to acts that include bodily or physical harm. Sexual violence refers to an act which is sexual in nature committed against a woman or her child, which includes but not limited to rape. Sexual harassment, acts of lasciviousness, treating a woman or a child as a sex object, making demeaning and sexual suggestive remarks, physically attacking the sexual parts of the victim's body, forcing him or her to watch obscene publications and indecent shows, forcing the woman or her child to do indecent acts or make films, forcing the woman to love or sleep together in the same room with the abuser. Psychological violence, acts or omission causing or likely to cause mental or emotional suffering of the victim, such as but not limited to intimidation, harassment, stalking, damage of property, public ridicule or humiliation, repeated verbal abuse, and marital infidelity. Last is economic abuse. These are the acts that make or attempt to make a woman financially dependent. Economic abuse includes but is not limited to the following: withdrawal of financial support or preventing the victim from engaging in any legitimate profession, occupation, business, or activity except in cases wherein the other spouse or partner objects on the valid, serious, and moral grounds. Deprivation or threat of deprivation of financial resources and the right to the use and enjoyment of conjugal community or property owned in common. Destroying household property. Controlling the victim's own money or properties, or solely controlling the conjugal money or properties. Who gets protected under the law? The law recognizes that equal relations of a man and a woman in an abusive relationship, where it is usually the woman who is disadvantaged. Thus, the law protects the woman and her children, the victim, the child who is a minor, legitimate and illegitimate, and a person aged 18 years and beyond who does not have the ability to decide for herself and himself because of an emotional, physical, and mental illness can make full use of the law. And any child under the care of a woman is also protected under the law. Is VAUCI committed by men alone? Women can also be liable under the law. These are the lesbian partners, girlfriends, or former partners of victim with whom she has or had a sexual or dating relationship. The law acknowledges that women who have retaliated against their partners or whom commit violence as a form of self-defense may have suffered from battered women's syndrome. Any victim who suffers from BWS or battered women's syndrome should be diagnosed by a psychiatric expert or a clinical psychologist. These will also help the victim in obtaining a just decision in her case. What are the penalties of committing VAUSI? If the courts have proven that the offender is guilty of the crime, he may be imprisoned and will be obliged to pay $100,000 to $300,000 in damages. The length of imprisonment depends on the gravity of crime. What can women and children do under the law? The law allows women and their children to secure barangay protection order and temporary or permanent protection order from the courts. What is a protection order? It is an order prescribed in the Anti-VAUSI Act to prevent further abuse or violence against a woman and her child. It also provides them relief from said abuse or violence. Republic Act 9262, or known as Anti-Violence of Women and Their Children of 2004, was signed on March 8, 2004 and took effect on March 27, 2004. The law that continues value the safety and protection of women and children.